Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back into another edition of Jake's Takes. I am your host, Jake Massucci, and I'm super excited to be back. Really, really excited. Took a while, took a break. To be honest, really, really nice break. I took about 3 months off, which was really, really nice. I mean, the basketball season got going and, we were traveling a lot, and I figured I think it's time for a break. And taking a couple months off, I was like, all right, let's see. Like, you'll probably have a decent amount of energy getting back. So I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to get the show rolling again. And what better news to get the show rolling than the big time Luka Doncic trade that happened last night? Oh my gosh. I woke up in the morning, looked at my phone on Twitter, and was like, what the heck just happened last night when I went to bed? And it was just flat out insane. I mean, Luka going to the Lakers, Anthony Davis going to the Dallas Mavericks, and we're going to get into all of the business, as we continue the podcast. But I'm super excited to talk about it today. We're going to start out. It's just going to be me talking for about 10 minutes. And then later on, we'll be joined by Matt Griffin and AJ Massucci, and we'll get their thoughts about the trade as well. So super mind-boggling stuff. It's probably the most surprising trade or moment in the NBA ever. Like, it's just flat out insane what happened in it. So I'm super excited to talk about all the aspects of the trade and give you the best analysis possible. And without further ado, I'm going to cue the music. All right, let's get down to business here. And the Dallas Mavericks, this is the official tweet from Shams. I'm just going to say it out there. So the Dallas Mavericks are trading Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. The three-team deal includes Utah as well. Okay, let's talk about this deal. I mean, this is just flat out insane. First of all, like, you never see a top 5 player mid-season get traded like this unless they demand a trade. That's the first thing out of it. And that's why it's just flat out ridiculous that it even happened at this point. Luka Doncic, there was no indication that Luka Doncic wanted out. None. And reporting has come in that Luka, he didn't ask for a trade. This just happened out of the blue. So you're like, okay, what are the reasons here that why would the Mavs want to move on from a 25-year-old superstar that's a top 4 player in the NBA that led your team to the NBA Finals last year? Let's think of the reasons. And for me, there's not many reasons. That's why this trade is just flat out insane and confusing to me, because it's like Luka Doncic is literally their offense. You created your team around this guy, and you made it to the NBA Finals last year. So, what are the reasons? And here are some of the reasons that, coming up with and thinking about it. It's like, okay, you got to pay him a super max coming up next year. He's going to be eligible for that, of course, because of just how good this guy is. And then also, you're looking at the only thing that's really concerning is, shape, I guess. And, I mean, when you're a top 5 player in the world, I don't think shape really matters, everything I heard, I listened to Bill Simmons, Ryan Russillo talk it over, and they were like, dude, if Luka Doncic was playing on your team and he's smoking cigarettes on the court, I would still pay him the supermax, and I think anybody would, because Luka Doncic is just that much of a creator and just elevates your team in a different level than almost anybody else. And that's what makes it so crazy on why they'd want to trade him in the first place. Yes, you'd have to pay him $350 million. When you have that caliber of a player, you kind of have to do that because he's that guy. So to me, that's the insane part. That's the crazy part. That's why this trade is just unbelievable. And, the pod had to come back for this trade because this is just ridiculous about this Luka Doncic deal, to the Lakers. And talking about the fit here, too. You're looking at Luka, LeBron, and then you got Austin Reeves. You got a lot of pieces on the Lakers that can really be beneficial. And Luka he makes your bad players average, And I really think with the Lakers, he's going to elevate these guys and put them at a higher level, So I'm excited to see what Luka can do with the Lakers. I think they've been winning a lot. They're up near the 5th, the 4th seed in the West. And with this, does it make you better in the short term? Maybe not, because right now Luka's dealing with injuries and you're not going to have much defense. But you also have 2 of the best players to start their careers we've ever seen with LeBron James and Luka Doncic. LeBron is not at the top 5 level now. He's still at the top 15 level. If you're looking at Luka, he's at a top 5 level. So looking at it that way, you got a lot of pieces here defensively, offensively. Defensively, it's going to be more of a struggle. You lost your rim protection. You lost your defensive anchor in Anthony Davis. You got guys like Jared Vanderbilt. You got guys like Dorian Finney-Smith. Dorian Finney-Smith's going to have that chemistry with Luka because they played together a while back. So that might help there. And you got a lot of pieces to try to figure it out. I think the next move for the Lakers is probably going to be to look at, okay, how can we get some rim protection on this team? Because they don't really have it. Whether that's a guy like Robert Williams on the Trailblazers, then your concern is, oh, shoot, he doesn't really stay on the court very much. So there's a lot of interesting pieces we can look at for the Lakers going forward, which I'm excited to see. But I mean, if you're the Lakers, you do this deal 10 times out of 10. From the reporting, Dallas called LA and was like, hey, we want to trade Luka Doncic, but we want your guy, Anthony Davis. So let's make a deal happen. And if you're the Lakers, you have to do that. It's Luka Doncic is a top 5 player. You have to make this trade no matter what, even if it makes you worse in the short term. And that's what they did. And this is just a really, really insane deal. It's unbelievable. Now let's switch it over and look at it from the Mavs perspective. Okay. So we talked about reasons why you trade Luka, right? So even if you come to the conclusion that, okay, we're going to trade Luka, here's my question for you if you're the Dallas Mavericks. Why don't you leak it to the press? If you leak it to the press, then you're going to get every NBA team calling you and trying to give you everything. Instead, they went to the Los Angeles Lakers. They chose a star, which was Anthony Davis. They called the Lakers and was like, let's make a deal to do Anthony Davis and Luka Doncic. Why don't you have other teams try to go get him? Because this deal, looking at it, this is so lopsided towards the Los Angeles Lakers. You only got one pick out of this. And you got Anthony Davis, Max Christie. Okay, solid pieces, blah, blah, blah. But does this really make you better? In the short term, I think it makes you worse. There's not much offense. Kyrie Irving has been proven to not show up in playoff series consistently on the offensive end. So do you really think with a lockdown defender on him, like a Lou Dort and a Casey Wallace and all those guys being able to go at you with the Oklahoma City Thunder, that Kyrie's going to be successful offensively? I don't really think so. I think it makes it a lot more difficult because Kyrie's great. I love Kyrie. He's been playing great basketball. He's been doing things. But, I mean, can we even rely on him to stay this locked in as he's been for the last year and a half? I don't know. Now you lost Luka. Luka was kind of that balancing force. So it's really interesting to me looking at this okay, do they really believe that they got that much better? Because they could have called San Antonio and been like, hey, we want to trade you Luka Doncic. Why don't you give us 7 first-round picks, Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, a couple more young guys, and call it good? And they might have done that trade. That's how much trade value that Luka Doncic actually has. And that's why the fact that they just went here and were like, hey, we just want to do this trade. We just want to get this star. It's crazy to me. And if you're looking at lists of NBA players, of top NBA players, I think Anthony Davis would be around the 12, 13 range, and Luka Doncic would be top 3. And yes, that doesn't seem like too much of a difference in tier value. But when you're looking at it that way, if you have Luka Doncic on your team and a bunch of scrubs, you still have a shot to win the NBA Finals. If you have Anthony Davis on your team and a bunch of scrubs, you're not making the playoffs. That's just a fact. So that's why, to me, it's okay, you can want Anthony Davis, but why don't you go get 2 Lakers first-round picks? Throw in all of their young talents. Go get Dalton Knecht. Go get Austin Reeves. If it was Austin Reeves, Dalton Knecht, Anthony Davis, and 2 or 3 first-round picks, I'd be more okay with this trade. But instead, you just got Max Christie and a first-round pick. It's I feel like you could have done way more. You definitely could have gotten something else from this trade. That's what makes it just flat out insane. And the fact of the matter is the Lakers have done it again. They've gotten a guy that nobody saw was available, and they went and got this. They did this in 2008, 2007 when they got Paul Gasol to pair with Kobe. And now you got this. You got Luka Doncic to pair with LeBron James. This is just a flat-out insane dynamic duo. LeBron's been playing great basketball as of late, so it doesn't seem like he's slowing down very much. He's at 40 and still playing ridiculous. This is just a flat-out win for the Lakers. Even if it hurts them in the short term, LeBron, it doesn't seem like LeBron's going to be retiring anytime soon. It just doesn't. And especially if he's got a guy like Luka Doncic, maybe he tries for one more chip. maybe he tries for 2 more chips. Like we really, really don't know here. And for the Lakers, this is a flat out win. And if I'm looking at it from the Mavs side, it's like I don't know how good they are. Like I don't know how this made you better. Your timeline got worse. You got 2 32-year-olds as your 2 best players, and you didn't get much draft capital out of this. You got 1 pick. So I get it. You wanted out of Luka Doncic business. I guess I get that because I would never, and I think a lot of people would never want out of the Luka Doncic business. So even if I were to get the fact that you want out, why not leak it to the press? And why not go, hey, we want 7 first-round picks. We want 3 young guys. Why don't we go after Giannis Antetokounmpo, see if the Bucks will ever trade him? Why don't we go after Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, see if the Thunder will ever trade him? Go get a tier 1 guy. Instead, you got a tier 2 guy, a decent young player, and 1 first-round pick. When, if you wanted to, you probably could have gotten a tier 2 guy, a really solid role player in Austin Reeves, a really solid young role player in Dalton Connect, 2 first-round picks, maybe 3. Maybe throw Max Christie in there too. And the Lakers probably still would have done it. I think they definitely could have gotten way more. But anyways, I'm going to bring in Matt Griffin and AJ Massucci, and we're going to talk about it further. All right. Welcome back into the show, and I am super excited to have on my guys. I got AJ Massucci and Matt Griffin with me to talk about this wild trade that is really, I think, the most surprising trade in NBA history, probably. Like, it's just flat out insane. So I got Matt and AJ here to talk about it. Guys, how we feeling? This is crazy.
It's absolutely crazy. My mind is blown. There's no rumblings. Like, generally in the NBA nowadays, it's like somebody requests a trade, and then it's like a 2-month process of everybody like offering their best package. You're coming up with fake trades left and right. But I mean, nobody thought the Mavs were crazy enough to trade Luka Doncic. And I'm sure we'll get into it, but it's just, my mind is blown right now.
Yep. No, I'm the same. Matt, how about you?
Yeah. Craziest trade in NBA history, probably the worst trade in NBA history, at least, as far as we know right now. Some trades may have ended up looking worse, but yeah, as far like initial reaction, yeah, most ridiculous. I really couldn't believe it. I woke up at like 4 a.m. because I had a headache the night before, so I got to bed pretty early. And there was nobody to talk about it with because nobody else was awake. So I was just kind of in the middle of my apartment yelling about things to myself. Legitimately, probably twice every 10 minutes for a good 3-4 hours, I was just like, they really traded Luka. Like the Lakers have Luka Doncic now. Like that you can't overstate how unbelievable that is.
Yeah, I mean, like I woke up this morning. I went to bed at like 9:30 last night, so I was exhausted and just out cold. And then I wake up and I look at Twitter. I'm acting like it's a normal morning, and then I see Luka to the Lakers, and I'm like, what just happened? Like it just changed. It changed my entire viewpoint of the day. I'm like, man, I'm just ready for NBA now. We got the Super Bowl coming up, NFL closing, and I'm just like, all right, we got the NBA for the rest of the year. So it's got me super pumped here. But I want to go through it. I talked about it a little bit in my open, just talking about it. But I want to get your guys' perspective on the Lakers and the Mavs side of this. So I think we can all agree that the Lakers are the 100% winners, and there's no doubt about it because it's a terrible trade for the Mavs. So let's talk about how it affects the Lakers. Let's go long-term, short-term. This time, I'll start with Matt for this.
All right, yeah. Start on the Lakers side. So, like, I think just off the bat, like, the grades for this trade are Lakers A+, Mavericks F. Like, this could not be more one-sided. How it affects the Lakers long-term, I mean, they just got one of the best players ever entering his prime. He just took a team on one leg, as fat as he is, according to Nico Harrison. He took a team on one leg to the NBA Finals in the loaded Western Conference. He's unbelievable. Cannot be overstated how people overuse the term generational. I feel like at this point, like it gets thrown around essentially every single year in every single sport. Like he is actually generational. He is actually a phenom, like 20 years old. He walks into the playoffs, puts up 31, 10 and 9 a game against, the favorite LA Clippers, hits the game winner. 21 years old, comes back, takes on the same team. It's 36, 8 and 10 a game. He leads active players in career points per game in the regular season and in the playoffs. Second all time in career points per game in the playoffs. He is clutch. He is a complete killer. You cannot overdescribe, you cannot overemphasize what a phenomenal offensive basketball player Luka Doncic is. Having him on your team makes you an automatic contender if you just do a decent, like a C+ job at building a team around him. 5 All-NBA first teams in his first 6 years. Like, this is ridiculous. Trading for him, acquiring him at 25 years old is absolutely ridiculous. I'm not being hyperbolic when I say this is like trading for Magic Johnson or trading for Larry Bird at the start of their careers. Like, he is clearly one of the great offensive players that's ever lived already, and we haven't seen the peak version of him yet.
Yeah, I agree with Matt. I will also throw in an A grade for the Utah Jazz, getting Jalen Hood-Schifino and 2 second-round picks. Yeah, but Indiana legend, best player of Indiana basketball last 10 years. Shout out Indiana Hoosiers.
Is that 10 years? That's not 10 years. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
No,
and getting 2 second-round picks. So shout out the Utah Jazz. But for the Lakers, I mean, this is a home run. Like, you're kind of, this extends your window from more than just 2 years, which it was as of yesterday. It was like a 2-year, 1-year window that you're looking with for Anthony Davis and LeBron James. And then they didn't even give up. Like, they gave up, obviously, like, giving up Anthony Davis is obviously massive. He's a top 15 player in basketball. But he's 31, injury prone. And Luka, you're getting the second or third best player in basketball. Like, it's a no-brainer. And he's 6 years younger than Anthony Davis. It's a no-brainer. And then to not have to give up Austin Reeves and the 2031 pick and the swaps, like, I don't know how Rob Pelinka, when like Nico Harrison, the GM of the Mavericks, he called and asked, hey, like, so you think are you potentially interested in Luka Doncic? Like, how about we do like an Anthony Davis and picks package? And he asked about the 2031 pick, and Rob Pelinka says, like, in what, like,
he gave him 2 days to think about it. Harrison gave the Lakers days to think about it.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I can't, like, I don't get it. No. I don't get it. But hey, good for the Lakers, I guess. The Lakers always seem to do this first. They did it with Pau Gasol. Yeah. They did it with Kareem. They somehow finessed their way to draft Magic Johnson as well when they already had Kareem. You know, it's just kind of a Lakers thing to do, I guess. And they have their next superstar for potentially the next 10 years, but also like potentially just a year and a half with how much time is remaining on Luka's contract.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's unbelievable. And I talked about it a lot in the open where I was just like, why didn't the Mavs like just leak this and have people offer them? Because they probably could have gone to like San Antonio and been like, hey, we want Stephon Castle and like 7 picks. And they might have done that, you know, like they could have gotten a haul for him. And that's what really shocks me. So I want to get it over to Matt here. Matt, like, why do you think the Mavs just decided, hey, like, we just want to get Anthony Davis and that's it?
I mean, Jake, you're asking me to go into the mind of an insane person. I'm not sure that I'm equipped to do that. Why? You asked me why the Mavericks do that. Like, why do the Mavericks do this? I don't know. Excuse my language. I don't know where this could go because I'm kind of fired up about the Mavericks side of this. This is the type of bad move that like owners in the 70s made before like general managers even existed. Like, this is that level of just complete idiocy. Why did Nico Harrison do this? I think probably, I mean, I'll say one, personal relationships are important, right? Clearly, I think from everything I can gather, Nico Harrison hated Luka Doncic. He did not like Luka Doncic. It seems like everything that's come out since, you know, he said defense wins championships, probably the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And he said, you know, like, it seems like Luka didn't contribute to the culture. Luka was mean to the training staff. Then get a new training staff. You know what I mean? Like, you guys talk about championship windows. Your window is on a plane to Los Angeles. It's gone. Why did Nico Harrison do this? He's probably fucking delirious. That's the only way that anybody could do this. One of the true just abominations of a decision from a front office that I really can ever remember. He said, also, future success to him is in the next 2 to 4 years, not the next 10 years. That's, again, the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. It just reeks of, like, clearly, I don't know. Like, my first thought was that, so legitimately when I first saw the notification, I was like, oh, did Luka get in trouble? Is he about to get deported? Is there a problem with Luka Doncic behind the scenes that none of us know about? And it doesn't seem that way. It seems like Nico Harrison's just an idiot who essentially just shit-canned an entire franchise.
Yeah, going off that, I agree. I agree with Matt. You don't trade a 25-year-old, 5-time All-NBA player on track to be a top 25 player, top 15 player, legitimately has a chance to be a top 10 player of all time. You just don't trade him, regardless of the situation, unless he's like saying like, I'm going to leave. But there's been no indication of that 24 hours after the fact. And like when social media thinks that Shams' Twitter got hacked, like you made a terrible trade. Like this was a mistake. If you're going to trade him, like you said, open it up, get the Spurs to give you everybody, give the Rockets to give you everybody. Like this is the moment the NBA franchises dream of, is for like one of the top 10 players in the NBA to demand a trade. And you didn't even get the best package from the Lakers, even if you're narrowed in on Anthony Davis. It's inexplicable. I feel bad for Mavs fans. If I was a Mavs fan today, I would be having I'd have some dark thoughts. Like it's bad. I think like they can still put out a pretty fun team, but we can get into that in a minute here. But like they're all 30 plus. They're all kind of injury prone. It's hard to rely on that. And part of the thinking is like, I don't know. They didn't even get deeper because they basically just traded a 1-for-1 in Anthony Davis for Luka.
Unless you love Christie, but
but like at best he's an eighth man. Like that's not for Luka. That's nothing. Like Matt said earlier, Luka by himself, if he is healthy, gives you a chance to win a championship. And there's probably 3 players in the NBA at any given time that you can say that about. And it's literally. I was listening to Russillo today.
Yep.
And he made 2 good points. One. So Luka has this extension that he's eligible to sign this summer. It's like 5 years, $343 million, which sounds like a lot of money. Luka's worth way more than that. Like Luka's worth all the money in the world in like NBA
He's
terms.
losing money because of this trade.
Exactly. So the Mavs obviously did not want to pay him that. I don't understand why, but okay, sure. But I would be more than willing to pay a Luka Doncic that's smoking a cigarette up the floor than do this trade. Like, because Luka could still take you to the NBA Finals while smoking cigarettes, playing basketball. Like he's that special of a talent. He doesn't have to.
He's walking around at Aiden Hutchinson weight, and he's top 5 in EPM. You know, like it doesn't matter. He is that good. It's unbelievable, man. Sorry to cut you off. But.
No, it's all good. I totally agree. And then I don't even know what the second point was, but you don't do this. You don't do this. It's bad. I feel bad for Mavericks fans. But like. Going back to what the Lakers, like, I feel like almost like the last person in the world that you want to tick off is Luka Doncic. And if he comes in with like a chip on his shoulder, like he not only just screwed over the Mavericks, he screwed over the whole NBA. Because like Luka Doncic with the chip on his shoulder, I don't even know, like MVP for the next 4 years, a couple championships. Now the Lakers have some work to do building out the team now around him, because you have a lot longer of a window, and like you're building for the long term a little bit more than you were with 39-year-old LeBron and 31-year-old Anthony Davis. Good for the Lakers. I don't know. I don't get it.
And just to build off of everything that AJ just said, like, one, if I were a Mavericks fan, like I would be a threat to myself and those around me, frankly. Like if this happened, I would probably end up on the news rather quickly, frankly. Like it's really bad. And we talked about how ridiculous it is to trade Luka Doncic in the first place. Okay, fine. Everything behind the scenes with Luka Doncic is as bad as it could get. Every relationship is soiled. That doesn't mean that you should only talk to one team. Like,
I know.
This would be the greatest bidding war in NBA history. You would get the best package imaginable. Like, no matter what, even if Luka came out and said, like, hey, I only want to go to this few teams or whatever, because he catch wind of it too. Like, that doesn't matter. Those few teams will put together. The Thunder would have given you Jalen Williams and a bunch of picks, right? Just for example. Or the Jazz would have given you literally everything that they had. As a Piston fan, I would have traded the entire team. Minus Cade Cunningham, because then
minus Cade.
But I would have traded 11 players and every pick we have for Luka. Like it is.
I would have thrown in the Detroit Lions roster as well. Like we could just give them to the Cowboys.
Luka's 270. He could play some edge. We're good, man. It's really crazy. I'm getting worked up again just thinking about it. You could not make a bigger mistake than this. I truly think. You have team building on easy mode because you have Luka Doncic, like, and you just throw that away. I don't get it. And everybody is blindsided by it. Jason Kidd was at the press conference today looking like a fucking hostage because they traded Luka, and it's bad, man. It's really, really bad.
Yeah, no, 100% agreed. I mean, like, it's just insane. I mean, this is the craziest news I think I've just ever seen in midseason in any sport, I think, because like the trade magnitude is just crazy. Like in NFL terms, Adam Schefter put it like this is like Lamar Jackson swapping with, who was it? I think it was Herbert, he said, or something like that.
He said
worse
Joe
than
Burrow,
Herbert.
but that does not do it.
Yeah, Joe Burrow. That's what it
That
was.
doesn't
That's
do
what it was.
neither of those things do it justice at all.
I know. Like, that's the insane part.
It'd be like Josh Allen for
Mahomes. No,
no. It'd be like a Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes for like
AJ
Jared
Brown
Goff.
for
Like it's just a mid quarterback that throws 3 interceptions in an NFC playoff game.
Anthony Davis.
I mean, don't rip on
Anthony
Anthony Davis too much. Yeah.
This would be like Anthony Davis is great. I don't want to downplay that. First ballot Hall of Famer. He's a phenomenal basketball player, no doubt. But it's like having Anthony Davis is great, right? AJ, you like having a car, right? You like having your car?
I do like my car, yeah.
Anthony Davis is like having your car, right? But then somebody comes out and he's like, I'll give you $1 million for your car. AJ would be like, well, hell yeah, you can have my car. Like I don't know, man. It's crazy. It really is.
It really is. It really is. So here's the question now. Like, if you're the Mavs, you just get ripped off like this and you lose your stud, right? And now you're in this win now mode with 2 like 31, 32-year-old players. How do you make this team better now in order to like contend in the West? Like, this is really difficult to me if I'm looking at it.
I think they should trade for Luka Doncic. They should just redo the last 24 hours. Like, they'd be
Nobody
really
would ever
good.
do that.
Like, it's
Recently
almost
traded
like
rule. You got to wait 60 days, AJ.
Yeah, but like they just made the NBA Finals, so like you're close. But in all seriousness, like I think the healthy version of their team would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
They got 2 of the greatest shooters in their backcourt in Clay and Kyrie. They got Anthony Davis playing now at the 4, I would guess. So Anthony Davis finally gets his wish of playing next to his center. And they have 2 great centers still, so in Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford. But I mean, I just have a hard time. Like, the spacing's going to get kind of clunky with Anthony Davis at the 4 and a non-shooting 5. But like, your rim protection is going to be awesome, so that's cool. But like, if you have to play like a Steph Curry in a playoff series or a play-in matchup, more likely, you have nobody to guard him. You have nobody to guard on the perimeter. But Clay's too like laterally slow for that now. PJ Washington can't guard a guard. But like, so like they could do some fun things, and like Anthony Davis is a good enough passer to probably pass off as being the 4-man offensively. But like, you're really, really relying on 30-year-olds throughout your roster in Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, and Klay Thompson to stay healthy, because if one of those guys is down, you almost have no source of offense, because Luka was your offense for the past 7 years. So I think they really just kind of gave themselves no room for error. I don't think this is going to be one of those teams that is like just generationally defensively. I think they're going to be really, really good, obviously, with the rim protection that they're going to have. But I don't get it. I'm so confused.
Yeah. To build off your point, right? Like, your offense is going to have to look different. You'll probably have to shift to more of like a motion-based offense as opposed to really relying on a couple of ball handlers, which they are already kind of started doing this year anyway. Like, it is the lowest Luka's usage has been in a long time. It is the least amount of time he spent on the ball since he was a rookie. So, I guess that they're quote-unquote prepared for it in that way. Obviously, the team is worse. Like, you traded – Anthony Davis is great. He's worse than Luka Doncic, and your team was tailored to playing with Luka Doncic. So you're not going to be better. But like you said, you'll have 80 at the 4, like an 80 at the 4, Lively at the 5 lineup defense to be really, really, really good. And that's kind of how you got to build right now. Like, I do think that they probably still are a playoff team, depending on getting the pieces working, and if they are able to kind of fit the puzzle pieces together offensively. Because, like you said, it's not the cleanest fit. Just because, but when you have 2 fantastic off-ball movers and off-ball shooters in your backcourt, like, it does become a good bit more viable to play with 2 non-shooters in the front court. Defensively, it is weird, but again, I think that just having the rim protection that you have is going to be enough. Anthony Davis is a monster on that end of the floor. Like, I compare this team kind of like, do you think that they're better than the Clippers? I guess it's kind of tough with Kawhi, but do you think that they're better than like the Kawhi-less Clippers, who are about a play-in team?
Yeah, I would favor the Mavs in a playoff series.
Yeah, I think so too.
But yeah, like I think, but like, because I think the Clippers are just like one of those overachieving teams that, you know, they're a fun story, but like, if they don't have a healthy Kawhi, I don't see them.
They're first round out.
Yeah. That's kind of my thinking with them. But like, that's also kind of how I'm seeing the Mavs right now. Like
a defensive centric team that's kind of relying on 1 or 2 creators, I think.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of what the Clippers are.
And another factor of this trade, just thinking more long term, it just came to my mind, but the Mavs recently have traded their 27 pick, 28 pick, 29 pick, 30 pick, and a 31 pick swap, with the thinking being we're going to have Luka Doncic, so we're going to be fine. So now you go out and you shorten your window so like that you're competitive for the next 2 years. So like you're gonna be like, if what Matt and I are thinking is correct, and they're like a first round exit,
Yeah.
but then your players kind of age out, and you don't have your pick for 5 years, and they're to 5 different teams, so it's not like you can just go trading Anthony Davis for your picks back. I don't get it. I'm so confused. And
Luka was
Nico
the
Harrison.
out. If things went wrong, you trade him for 1 million picks and young players, and now
you trade him for Steph Castle, Devin Vassell, and 15 draft picks from the Spurs, and then you have Luka and Wemby, and then the league's not fair unless they run into the Pistons. But I just, I'm so confused. I'm at like a loss for words. Shout out the Lakers though, good for them.
Yeah.
La GM.
True, he comes through again.
Yeah.
Might get another ring.
Yeah, I mean he might at this point. It's flat out insane. What this trade kind of gives the Lakers.
Bronny's development?
I did see that
less on ball reps for.
If you're Rob Pelinka and the Mavs would not have done the offer without Bronny in it, do you accept?
That one's tricky.
Get rid of that 29 first.
They can't give you the 2030 first to draft Bryce, so things get hard.
Oh, all right. Let's switch over to the Lakers then. Let's talk about how this affects them like right now, because they were on a hot streak. Like they were winning games and they were doing stuff, and now like you get the chance of a lifetime in Luka Doncic. So Matt, I'll start with you here. Like talk to me about what you've seen from the Lakers and now what Luka will do with them.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued because this is a team not built really to have Luka Doncic on it in the same way. I mean, I kind of hesitate to say they don't have a real five, right? Like they're starting Jackson Hayes at center. He's not good enough to be a backup, frankly. I watched Jackson Hayes come off the bench. I'm like, man, you really need to upgrade that spot. And now he's starting. So this is a little bit of a conundrum, or maybe Koloko play. I don't know, but you got to trade. I mean, the first thing forward, I think you got to call Utah for Kessler. Call whoever will trade you a center, like any level of center. Luka, if they can catch lobs and they play defense, like it's a fit, frankly. So that's your first path forward, and I'm just gonna kind of assume that's gonna happen because I think like you have Luka on your team now, like there's another level of aggressiveness that you need to tap into to build the team tailored towards him. And when you add players that are good for Luka, those players help LeBron too. So you don't really have that problem, but it is interesting because like. The Lakers have had an interesting year to me. I think it feels like they're overachieving a little bit despite having two of those premier players. I think LeBron's season has been a little bit weird for me to kind of parse through because it is LeBron. I love LeBron. The numbers are fantastic. I do think like defensively it's like rough with him on a possession basis right now. But yeah, like he's been playing really well. You're in a playoff spot right now. You just added one of the three best players in the world. There's more moves to make. I think. You know, I'm intrigued to see how JJ uses Luka because like they aren't just kind of like a 1-5 pick and roll team. Like they're not a spread pick and roll team. They run a lot of very structured offense relative to other NBA teams. They employ a lot of off ball movement, things like that, which like helps Luka. I mean, if you're doing that stuff while Luka has the ball, that's great, right? But it's not necessarily something that Luka has been like. Luka has not played a ton off the ball in his career.
Yeah.
You know, he's begun to a little bit as he's gotten more acclimated with Kyrie, and he's very good at it, to be clear. It's just not the way that he's generally played. So you're probably going to tailor things towards him. I also wouldn't really be shocked, AJ, if JJ Redick looks at this and he's like, why would we not just play? Why would we not just switch everything and give the ball all the time?
Yeah.
Like, why would we not kind of change the way that we play? Just thinking how JJ Redick played or, thinks about things, I guess. Because Luka is one of the best. I mean, he's been essentially bred since he was a child to run pick and roll. He's been crafted, like molded like a ball of clay to just be a 6'9", 250-pound pick and roll maestro. And you're going to want to lean into that as much as possible. And if you have Luka Doncic and LeBron, like you really got to slant the rest of your lineup defensively to make up for that because those two guys are just such like unbelievable playmakers, unbelievable problem solvers on the offensive end. Like I think that they can kind of make whatever you do work if you have decent enough pieces. Rui's been really good this year from three. Dorian Finney-Smith being on the team is a great help now, especially I think. And he, his minutes have been really good. He's made a big impact to them defensively. But losing Max Christie honestly hurts a little bit on that end. I think that that's something to note. Like he was kind of their best point of attack guy. We'll see who can fill that role going forward. Bronny? Question mark. They probably trade for a guy would be my guess. Yeah, I think it's just like I'm just excited, man. You can't really go wrong. Watching him and LeBron together is going to be awesome. Like this is two of like he's kind of the the next iteration of LeBron on one end of the floor, obviously. Like they're built very differently, but just in the sense like this is a massive guy who is, one of the best playmakers, one of the best passers we've ever seen, and he kind of gets wherever he wants on the floor. Like he is the most alike LeBron in that way that we've really ever seen. So I'm just excited to kind of see that. Those two guys playing together is a very rare thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a home run for the Lakers. I think this year makes it a little weird. I think you go trade for a lower tier center, whether that's like a Robert Williams or someone like kind of along that level who can shore up the defense a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit like LeBron at the 5 and switch everything. And I'm hoping that LeBron can now kind of, because he's been known to pick and choose his spots of when to really go for it, and he can kind of pick and choose his spots a little bit more defensively with Luka, which I mean he definitely can do. I'm excited to see some Luka LeBron pick and roll. That'll be fascinating, and just like two of the best basketball minds in the game play basketball together is almost must-watch TV. And I mean the Lakers extended their window for the next 10 years if they're able to re-sign Luka next summer. I'm just like, yeah, they're going to be awesome. They can do a million different things. I think we'll see a little bit of a combination of tailor the offense a little bit more towards Luka, but then also still run some stuff so it's not all on Luka. You could do a million different things. A million different things. You still have Austin Reeves. I think this may make Reeves a little expendable depending on how much you want to really go for it in this LeBron window. LeBron iteration of Luka, but he could also be a tremendous asset going forward for them because you're going to need a ball handler once LeBron leaves. So you kind of have that in Reeves, but so how much do you want to give up? But if you're able to go get a true difference maker, I think it'll be pretty clunky for the Lakers for a lot of this season, and they won't maximize the amount of talent that's on their team just because there's a lot of overlap between LeBron and Luka this year. But you can kind of ride it out. Go off on the high of we have Luka and LeBron. I mean, that's going to sell, obviously, every time that they play. And then you could really, you get a 30-game sample size plus a playoff series, maybe 2 playoff series, maybe 3, who knows? You never want to discount Luka. But, and then you really, go after your needs this summer in different moves. And that's just, I think that's the smart way to play it. You're now on a 10-year timeline rather than a 2. Credit to the Lakers, credit to the GM. And it's going to be must-watch basketball to watch two of the best offensive basketball players ever play basketball at the same time.
Yeah. So do you guys think that this team will be can they win a playoff series? This current Lakers team?
Yes. They have Luka, yes. And again, if they enter the playoffs with Jackson Hayes starting a center, a good chance I could be a team, I will say. Okay. And also, do we know when Luka's coming back from an injury perspective? Exactly. Do we know what the timeline is here?
The estimated date when he was in Dallas, he was targeting February 8th, so in a week.
Okay.
So, but it might be after the All-Star break at this point, but it should be sometime within the next 2 weeks.
He's not. Yeah.
No, I didn't play. No. Okay. Yes, because I was thinking if it is he gets back a month before, that's probably not enough time to build sort of whatever chemistry you need for a playoff series. I would think, but that doesn't mean they still couldn't win one just kind of off talent alone. They can win. They totally can win. They just have so much talent. And again, it's that guy. We were picking Luka Doncic in playoff series his whole career, literally just because it's Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
With no other analysis. The Mavs have Luka, so they'll win.
The other point Russillo made just came back to me in the 2011 or 2022 Western Conference Finals. The team that played with Luka, the next leading shot leaders were Jalen Brunson before he was Jalen Brunson. And then it was Dorian Finney-Smith, Maxi Kleba, Spencer Dinwiddie.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of bums. It's a bunch of bums and Luka. And so
You're right.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. Luka in any given series against anybody in the NBA can be and probably will be the best player in that series. And when you have the best player in the series, it's hard not to win, especially when I'm so confused. He's so good. He shows up in every playoffs. He's awesome in every playoffs. I just don't get it. I'm so confused. It covers up a lot of holes. And so in any given series, they can definitely win. I don't think that they're odds on title favorites or anything. I don't think that that's this year. But you don't trade this guy, man. You just don't.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah. there are multiple Western Conference franchises that turn into like vampires in the middle of Death Valley when they see Luka. Like, this dude went into Game 7 as an underdog on the road against Phoenix. He outscores the entire team in the first quarter. Like, he just completely collapses an entire franchise, right? Like, it's unfathomable. And, you know, like, I'm excited to watch it. I legitimately, it's so unbelievable. I hate that we keep getting to just how unbelievable it is, but that's really what it is. It's the most ridiculous trade ever. Like, you can't overstate it. Conspiracies are fair right now. Like, I think it's fair to be like, did Adam Silver make them do this so that ratings get better because Luka's on the Lakers? Like, it is like that level. It's that level of unbelievable. Nico Harrison and Rob Pelinka worked together at Nike. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Yeah,
there's a little bit of a conspiracy there. Nico Harrison is the reason that Steph Curry is not at Nike, because he put Kevin Durant on the, like, welcome Kevin Durant for their Steph Curry, like, whatever it was, when they were trying to persuade Steph Curry to come to Nike, like their presentation. Nico Harrison put, hey, Kevin Durant, or welcome Kevin Durant, and that's why Steph Curry went to Under Armour. So, like, he's ruined things before. He is just a thing ruiner. And I guess he kept this under wraps. Yeah, I feel so bad for him. Man, I've thought a million times about how mad I would be if I were a Mavericks fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have nothing to add. Like, it's just like, it doesn't make any sense. I don't understand. Like, and the problem is that he was like a good GM before this.
Yeah,
like, he was a great
trade
GM.
Deadline was unbelievable. He did a great job.
He had an A off season as well. Like, he's been killing things ever since he's gotten there.
He just punted it all.
And I just don't understand how people like that are in charge of these kind of decisions. Like, it's every NBA's fan's dream to be a GM, and every NBA fan would know you don't trade Luka. Yeah. You just don't. You don't. So, like, unless it turns out that, like, Luka, I don't know, like, dies tomorrow of a heart attack.
Right.
Like, that's what I thought was
like, is that what's happening? Like, there's something we don't know. There has to be. But it doesn't seem that way. It seems like Nico Harrison just kind of had someone pissed in his Cheerios a little. Luka pissed in his Cheerios a little bit, and he really couldn't handle it. Crazy.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's flat out crazy. Like, I woke up this morning and did not think it was real. Like, just unbelievable stuff. I want to close the podcast with some fun stuff. Okay, the Pistons are doing really well. So, Matt, AJ, I want you guys. I haven't been watching as much NBA. I've been locked in on college basketball. So, give me some Pistons stuff. I'm very happy with how we've been doing.
Yeah, as somebody that it doesn't watch like every single game, but watches a majority of them, fair majority. And first Pistons living memory was us trading Chauncey for Allen Iverson. Obviously, the moment
another depressing trade.
Yeah, just another.
I was in at the time.
And of course you were. Yeah, that does not surprise me. But that's my first memory, and so therefore, this is the most excited that I've ever been about the Pistons. Maybe outside of that one when I convinced myself that Stanley Johnson was LeBron's stopper and KCP was dunking on people. But, like, this is the best and most exciting team of my, like, living memory. So it's super exciting. They're a super fun team to watch. Cade is unbelievable. I mean, he's like a baby Luka Doncic, but that plays defense. So we got that going for us, and they're super fun. It's a real bummer about Jaden Ivey, but, like, they're super fun, and, like, they have old guys contributing, but it's like the young guys that are really driving the success, which is, like, makes you think that this might actually be sustainable, which is, like, a weird thing as a Pistons fan.
It is young guys driving success, particularly one young guy, if we're being honest. Like, Cade is really doing a bit of a carry job. I believe they're still the 6th seed because, the Hawks wouldn't have overtaken them since. Yeah, so they're the 6th seed right now, and the second best player on the team is Isaiah. So that kind of tells you what Cade's up to as far as the floor raising job he's doing. Yeah, he's very fun to watch, has a very aesthetically pleasing game, is a fantastic defensive player, obviously a massive point guard, destroys mismatches. We need the finishing to get better. We definitely want some more free throws coming in, but he's turned into like an absolute flame-throwing pull-up three-point shooter, which he was at Oklahoma State and he was in high school. So that's been very welcome to see, and that's kind of opened everything up for him, in my opinion. Throughout the rest of the team, like, I think the other guy, I guess, if you're Jake, if you're really wondering about what's drove the Pistons, Malik Beasley has been like unbelievable, like truly unbelievable. One of the great shooting seasons that's ever happened by anybody not named Steph Curry. He's second in the league in 3-pointers made behind Anthony Edwards. In lineups when Cade is out and Jaden Ivey's out, this is just recently because Jaden Ivey was always in when Cade was out before he was hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Per 75 possessions, so about what you play throughout a game if you're playing like 35. Malik Beasley is shooting 15 threes and making 47% of them.
Cool.
Like when Cade Cunningham goes off the floor, I'm so serious. It is Buddy Hield at Oklahoma. Like that is our offense. We are just setting screens. We're goalkeying for Buddy Hield. That's what our offense turns into. Like he comes off screens. He's taking a million pull-ups, and he's just flame-throwing right now, man. He's been unbelievable. He's a massive driver of, like, the culture of the team. Everybody on the team talks shit. Obviously, Isaiah Stewart really gets into it a lot, probably a bit more than maybe you should, frankly.
No.
We love it. Yeah, we love it. Don't want to miss more games, but we love it. He's very good defensively. He's played at, like, an all-defense level. He doesn't have the minutes to team, but he's played at like an all-defense level, but like it is like they're just kind of an average offense. They're an average defense, but they play really fast. They're first in transition frequency since Asar Thompson entered, the real rotation, playing more than 20 minutes a game. So that's really fun to see. Asar's been great.
That's
getting overshadowed by his brother, who's unbelievable. But Asar's been fantastic in his own right. I think defensively, like he's a nightmare. Really, he's a creative player on that end of the floor, and we're getting more point Asar, more initiator Asar, and I'm always excited to see that. So, yeah, the Pistons are really, really fun. They play a ton of close games. They get really physical. Ron Holland, unbelievable athlete, unbelievable motor. Just also, he's kind of following in the footsteps of Stu. He's always getting into shit too. It's pretty great, man. The Pistons are a lot of fun. Like even they're more fun than they are good, and they're not bad.
And Ron Holland will always shoot the ball. Like anytime he dribbles, that ball is going up.
In transition, there's not a dump off happening. It's not coming.
No, like he made I forget what game I was watching, but he was driving and he made like a dump off pass. And I was like, there's no way he like made this bounce pass to the big. Like he just lost his dribble. Like I was actually in awe. Like I thought he just lost his dribble. And it turns out he actually made the pass. So, but he's fun. Asar's fun. We're awesome. We're so good. I still hate Tobias Harris with the burning passion.
He's playing good though, man. He's been good.
I don't care.
Defensively, he's tapped in now. I'm kind of he's turning me.
Yeah,
I'm a Tobias hater.
I still not a fan. I guess he's better. Like he's better than what else we have at the 4, but
definitely.
Yeah. And we're fun. I don't know what else to say. We're awesome. We're going to trade for Devin Booker soon. It's going to be awesome.
Yep. When they implode next year.
And then we'll never lose again. And we'll be seeing Luka in the finals and we'll be beating them. Luka or Wemby, whoever comes out.
Are there any moves we want to do in the deadline?
It's an interesting deadline.
Yeah. For me, I'm pro like take on some salary, get a first round pick going forward in an eventual trade that will then trade for Devin Booker. That's my take on it. I think if Ivy was healthy, then maybe you go try to upgrade the Tobias Harris spot. But like I don't really see the guy yet. So like I think we have to save our chips to go all in at a future date. But that's just me. And then you also want you don't want to also block somebody's playing time in the playoffs. Like you don't want to block Asar Thompson from getting more minutes or Ron Holland. I think these guys are the guys that need playoffs. And after a playoff series, then you'll have a better idea of what you need going forward and how we're going to win. Like that.
I want to stress test your theory of just wanting to take on South. Would you take on Nurkic for the Cleveland first rounder this year from Phoenix? So the 29th
Nurkic is this year, next year?
Yeah.
No.
29th pick.
I would
But that would give us 3 picks in that range because we have Washington second and Toronto second.
I would rather wait. I would rather get a pick in
a
future year that it looks better in a trade, like a future trade, than one this year. So if it was like 2 years, even if it was lottery protected for like a couple of years, like I don't really care about the upside too much. But that's just me. And we are going to need some money, I think, to extend Beasley this offseason. So
we'll be able to offer him more than anybody, like if we don't do anything.
Not the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay, sure. Fair enough. Not the Brooklyn Nets. I hope he'll stay here instead of go to the Brooklyn Nets. Yeah.
Well, they may have Cooper Flag.
That's true. That's true.
But if they re-sign Cam Thomas, there's only so many shots from the league. So
right. You're right. I don't know. Malik Beasley would be their second best player, so I think maybe they would, but maybe not. No, I before I forget, when you talked about Ron Holland making that dump off pass and like it being like no way he just did that, Ace Bailey made an extra swing yesterday versus Michigan, and I got out of my chair. I was like, "Oh, I've never seen him do that. That's unbelievable." No, yeah. Well, we've got to extend Beasley. Again, I think that he is like the number one like leader of the team. Like he's the culture driver. He's the guy. Like when Jaden Ivey gets hurt, he's like, "Yeah, I'll be over at his house tomorrow. Like we're gonna play video games and keep his spirit up." Like he's been all of that for this team, and that couldn't be more important. And he's just so I don't know. He's so fun to watch because of the shots he takes and how much shit he talks and all the little wiggling he does. Like it's pretty great to have him here. He's turned in probably my favorite Pistons role player like ever, really, or at least my favorite good one. I don't know if you can pass Gillian yet, but. Of role players that actually contribute, Malik Beasley's got to be number one already. Yeah, the deadline is tough. I think that, like, the thing about the deadline is, so we're basically locked into the play-in because the bottom of the East is so bad that we can't fall below, like, the 10th seed. It just can't happen. So I understand kind of every argument. Like, I think that we're just in a great spot where we can't lose. If they do push the gas pedal, it's like, okay, great. Because frankly, I think getting the 6th seed is way better than the 7 or 8 seed in the Eastern Conference.
Definitely.
So, like, if you want to push the gas pedal and bring in, like, a CJ McCollum for this year and next year, and then he's gone after that, and I think that, like, that's the type of rental that makes sense. He comes in, he's our second option. He can kind of carry things when Cade goes off a little bit, and we do that for 2 years. Or if they want to go super hard, and you'd have to trade Tobias to do it, but it's like you could bring in a more talented player like Levine, who will actually, like, score a lot and, like, kind of turn into your like a real second option. CJ McCollum's kind of a fake one at this point, but you got to pay him more. Things get tougher. I don't know. It is tough, but like I think that the Pistons are in a great spot. I'm not sure what picks would be out there to take on salary. Like I think that's the question. Just a few teams own so many of the picks, right? Like a lot of teams just really don't have much to trade in that way. I've kind of defaulted. I think I want a Chicago Bulls guard. I want Kobe White or Lonzo Ball. I think that those two guys are guys that I target. I think Kobe White's great. Like I think if you trade for him, it almost makes Jaden Ivey a little bit expendable, and that makes which is interesting to me because I'm frankly not the biggest Jaden Ivey guy. I'm kind of concerned about paying him. I think Kobe White's just a better player and kind of in a similar ilk of like off-ball scoring guard, but Kobe White can do more and is a better shooter. So I think that there's kind of a lot of avenues to go down. I think Trajan, it'll be hard to lose this deadline for the Pistons unless you really like do nothing.
Yeah, I'm pro. I want to be the third team in like a Kings Spurs trade where we're taking on like that Harrison Barnes money, which goes this year and next year, and then it's done, and we get like a crappy first from the Spurs in the future. That's my dream. I would love to get Lonzo. I'm pro Lonzo. Great to have a ball brother in Detroit. That'd be awesome. Cool. Get LeVar.
It's been a minute. We had LiAngelo.
Although when we had LiAngelo in Detroit, it didn't go well for the Lions.
That is true. That is true. But I forgot in my little Pistons spiel to give a shout out to JB Bickerstaff, who also pro talking shit. I'm so pro
it's awesome.
JB Bickerstaff. Like he's all in. We even got George Blaha talking a little crap on the Pacers game on Wednesday night. That was great. He's like Tyrese Halliburton. Like Tyrese Halliburton was killing us. He was talking so much trash. And George Blaha just goes like, it's the end of the game. We already lost. There's like a minute left. We're down 10 or whatever. And he just goes, I don't know about you, Greg, but I'm getting really sick of this Tyrese Halliburton. He's talking a little bit too much. And he just rips him for like the next 30 seconds. Like, before tonight, Tyrese Halliburton's had a really disappointing season this year.
It's so
what
funny,
a legend.
That totally shit. I did a complete 180 on George Blaha. I'm back in. Count that baby in a foul.
Amen.
I'm so
windmill jam.
Yeah, I'm very pro. Like, and JB Bickerstaff's been great. Like, he rips the officials constantly. He's always on our guys play harder. He's just his challenges could use some work. He had another crappy one today, but he's made Jalen Duren a significantly better like a real NBA center. I don't know how good he will be going forward, but that's a debate for another time. He's made him into an NBA rotational center at the moment. He's clearly gotten like paid to guard a little bit more than he has in the past. So I'm very happy with JB Bickerstaff, even though he probably had the easiest job because just like you can only improve from Monty Williams. You can't get worse. So,
but
shout out
JB
JB
Bickerstaff like this.
Yeah,
like this is much further along than anybody really anticipated. We all knew we were getting an upgraded coach just by default because Monty was so bad. JB's been great. Left his last press conference with hashtag. He said free stew. And I was like, yeah, you know what? That's my coach, man. I'm not going to complain too much. I do get like AJ said. There's some on-court stuff that isn't perfect. He's not the most inventive offensive guy in the world. Pretty 2018 offense, I feel like. But, he gets the most out of his guys, and he fights, like AJ said, man. It's pretty great. He's got everybody playing super hard, and I think, like, for everything you can say about a coach, if everybody is playing 110% for him, like that deserves a pat on the back.
And going back to the statistic Matt was saying with Jaden Ivey and Cade off the floor, to have like a capable offense in those minutes with like the guys that are playing
shots. I don't know if I want to.
Yeah, but like to change your offense to be 2018 Oklahoma Buddy Hield, like I wouldn't have thought of that one. Let's turn Malik Beasley, like career minimum guy, into Buddy Hield, Naismith Player of the Year. Like that's pretty good.
And credit to Buddy, man. Or not Buddy. Credit to Malik.
Well, and credit to Buddy. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah, Buddy was pretty sweet back in the day.
True. Credit to Buddy. The Oklahoma Buddy Hield highlights will come across every once in a while. I'm just like, damn, he was really pulling from wherever.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they did the same thing with Trae Young as well.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. This has been a lot of fun, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Jake.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, these guys will probably be back later in the year, but that's going to wrap up Jake's takes for today. Big time Luka trade. Unbelievable. So great talk there. And I'll be back at you guys soon. So peace.